Hello everyone and welcome to this video. Now today I thought I would do a little rundown of my top 10 songs by Belle and Sebastian, Scottish kind of indie pop sort of band, sort of formed in the kind of like late 90s, still making some great records to this day, and yeah, really I guess over the past year or so have become one of my absolute favourites. So yeah, and they're a band who I've not done a kind of top 10 songs video of, or like an album ranking off like for like that matter, which I'll get onto like hopefully like well I want to like maybe like get like all other albums. But I thought I thought it was time though to do a top 10 songs list of theirs. So yeah, we'll just get stuck right in with the list at number 10.
Another day in June, we'll pick 11 for football.
Which I'm going for at number 10 is Another Sunny Day, which is taken from their album The Life Pursuit. Here, this one came out in 2006 from the kind of middle part like of like their like career. This is a really good upbeat kind of jangle pop track with just it's just got an infectious kind of summery kind of feel good sort of like sort of feel to it, and kind of like the lyrics sort of take us through the kind of course like of like a like relationship with various kind of clever wordplay and puns like from Stuart Murdoch on there. Like the opening line like is like, another sunny day, I meet you up in the garden. You were digging plants, I dug you, beg your pardon. And then kind of like by the end of the track, everything's become a bit more dull and a bit more like mundane. He sings like the loving is a mess. What happened to all of the feelings? I thought it was for real. Babies, rings, and fools kneelings, like he sings like on it. Yeah, it is just a great song. This one of their more accessible tracks. I think like easy to kind of grasp. You think, oh yeah, like this is like a really like good song because it is quite upbeat, like probably more so than some of the stuff from the first half like of like their career. But no, a great song there. Another Sunny Day.
I wanna see you alone.
Okay, next up at number 9 is Your Cover's Blown, which was originally released in 2004 as a kind of non-album track. I think it was on like its own like little like EP, basically. But my kind of go-to version of the song is the remix that you get on this, which is called The Third Eye Centre. It's kind of like a compilation of kind of B-sides from again from that kind of middle part like off like their like career, and yeah, I'm not sure where this remix like originates from, like if it was done like at the time or if it was just something new for this particular album. But it really just kind of pumps up the bass a little bit more because it is quite a danceable track. It's kind of Belle and Sebastian sort of like spreading their wings like a little bit, trying out like a slightly different musical direction, and it really working. Like it's like an ambitious song as well, multi-component. I'd describe it a bit like their Bohemian Rhapsody, like in the sense that it's made up of like lots of like different like little bits of kind of like a mini opera kind of thing, and it all just like really works. I like the kind of like I like the kind of like the lyrical kind of concept of it about kind of like two partners sort of like in like a city, I guess, kind of spying like on like one another, finding out and like so like eventually finding out that like they are both cheating like on like one another, and yeah, I think it's a great song. It was a real favourite when I seen them perform live like last year, and yeah, a great song. So yeah, like Your Cover's Blown, but specifically this remix version. Okay, next up is from their debut album, Tiger Milk, 1996, and it's My Wandering Days Are Over. Now, this is probably, I'd say maybe the most overlooked or underrated song like on like my list, because most of these tracks are generally their more popular ones, but this one is like certainly certainly like when I was doing like a bit of research for this, like this is one that doesn't get picked out as a kind of particular highlight, but I just really like it. I think it's kind of lyrics about kind of the passing of time and kind of aging and sort of settling into like your own kind of personality. Sings like, you know, my wandering days are over. Does that mean that I'm getting boring? You tell me. I'm tired of listening to myself. And then kind of talks later in like the chorus about a kind of circus boy getting lonely and kind of like leaving town and that sort of thing. So it's kind of, yeah, maybe about the passing like of like time and kind kind of like the loss of kind of sort of like childhood kind of thing. And like all kind of good Belle and Sebastian songs, it really builds up quite organically. There starts off very quiet with just Murdoch and his guitar, but then kind of like you've got a middle bit where you've just got some great orchestration on it, and I think there's a wee trumpet solo in there like as well, and it's just quite, yeah, it's quite an assured song for like a debut album, you know. It's kind of, this is the Belle and Sebastian sound, and they've kind of got it completely down straight away right from their first album, which was recorded basically for like a college project, like in 1996, like, so yeah, like not professionally recorded like or anything, so yeah, quite remarkable, like this album all round. But yeah, specifically My Wandering Days Are Over.
I left my lady in the laundrette. You can put some money.
Okay, next one up now at number 7, going back to the live pursuit here for The Blues Are Still Blue. Now this is a really great, fun song for me, of chugging kind of 70s glam rock kind of stomper, this one here, from, yeah, this probably a most kind of, yeah, accessible kind of album. I mean, it's a super catchy track. You've got some great fun lyrics. I like the lines towards the end where it sort of talks about like, I've got a letter from my mum and my stupid dog is there, and all that kind of stuff. I think it just has a kind of carefree kind of like attitude to it. Yeah, it doesn't make much sense, like kind of as like a narrative, but there's certain lines in it which just think, yeah, that's just really good, like really fun stuff there. And like I said, like, it's a great kind of band performance. It's a simple song, but I think it's its simplicity, which is where like it gets its magic from. So yeah, The Blues Are Still Blue at number 7.
Judy, let's go for a walk. We can kiss and do all.
Okay, next up now at number 6 on my list is probably one of their best album closers, I would say. It's Judy and the Dream of Horses from If You're Feeling Sinister, which, yeah, again, a really, really lovely, charming track, this one here. Starts off again very quietly, very kind of soft, and a bit like kind of verging into kind of like twee territory, you know, like it's a kind of label that Belle and Sebastian often get kind of labelled with, but I think there's nothing wrong with that, like, from like time to time. And this sort of year, you've got kind of like recorders on it and stuff, so which really works, like, sort of like with the lyric, which is about, yeah, this kind of sort of lonely kind of schoolgirl sort of writing like kind of like the saddest song. Showed it to a boy in school today. Where did it all go wrong? You used to make me smile when I was down, like all that kind of stuff. And then it's just the way it kind of does a complete gear change like in the middle for me, and it just becomes an absolute yeah, like indie kind of banger, really, you know, that with like this like kind of like the horn line what comes in, Stevie Jackson starts really sort of going for it, like on like the like electric guitar, and it's just again is a song about escapism, living like a kind of like a carefree life. Yeah, Judy and the Dream of Horses, one of their best songs there, number 6.
In his blue velour and silk, you liberated the boy.
And sticking with this album here, number 5, we're going to the opening track on here, which is Stars of Track and Field, which again must be one of the best album openers. I think the lyrics on this do speak of a kind of desire to kind of be sort of something and someone else, describing the kind of, yeah, Stars of Track and Field athletes, I guess, kind of beautiful people, kind of touches on kind of Stuart Murdoch had kind of during his kind of teenage years and early 20s suffered from chronic fatigue syndrome, so he was kind of like often spending a lot of time like indoors or sort of like, yeah, just kind of bedbound sometimes, like, so it was a kind of, it was one of these back there, like he had a bit of a hobby for running kind of like before this kind of like illness, yeah, started to like affect him. And it's, yeah, it's a kind of, yeah, song about the kind of like aspiration and that, and again, like a lot of great Belle and Sebastian songs, just starts off really slow and soft with that great opening line, make a new cult every day to suit your affairs, and then by the end it's kind of become, it just becomes something else, this song, with its kind of, yeah, very repetitive kind of ferocious beat, kind of quite Velvet Underground-y, like sort of like towards like the end. And yeah, it's quite repetitive at the end, but it's not boring. It doesn't ever think, oh, I'll just skip through this, you know, because it just gets so intense, and it's just the way it builds up. It's just absolutely genius. So yeah, Stars of Track and Field for me, number 5.
What about me? I don't really see.
Okay, next up now at number 4, we've got another closer. Again, they did do a good album closer like Belle and Sebastian, and it's from the album Dear Catastrophe Waitress, which was their 5th album, I believe. It's a closing track called Stay Loose, which is just an epic song. This album did represent a slight change in direction for Belle and Sebastian, so they've lost one of their original kind of female vocalists, like Isabel Campbell, had left the band before this album, and I think they were kind of wanting to kind of expand their sound a little bit, become a little bit more radio friendly, a little bit more accessible. So they got in Trevor Horn, who of course kind of giant of 80s production, and he really gives this album a kind of really quite broad kind of sonic palette. You know, there's a lot of tracks in here which it covers a lot of ground, this album, in terms of its sound, and it really is one of their more interesting and sort of varied efforts. This particular track, Stay Loose, is a real homage to kind of new wave, kind of pop rock, kind of late 70s, early 80s. It's got this kind of syncopated kind of David Bowie Ashes to Ashes kind of time signature on it, teamed with some kind of Elvis Costello and the Attractions-esque sort of organ work going on, and then a guitar solo which sounds like it could have come from the fretboard of Squeeze's Glenn Tilbrook, just very clean, very precise kind of guitar work on it. So it's just a real mismatch of a lot of music what I really love, and then and later you've got some kind of octave kind of vocals going on again a little bit similar to Squeeze. So it really just feels like a homage to a lot of the music that they must have loved, and also Trevor Horn kind of putting his touch on the album, and this is just a great climax of easily one of their best albums. Okay, next up for me now at number 3, I'm going for the track Sleep the Clock Around, which is the highlight from probably their most, I was going to say the most celebrated album, but probably the most popular album, because I think certainly for a lot of fans, The Boy with the Arab Strap-In is seen as maybe a little bit inconsistent as a whole album, but there are a couple of absolute standout gems, and I think Sleep the Clock Around definitely ranks head and shoulders above the rest of them. It's just such a unique song. I think in terms of its kind of sound structure, it just bubbles along quite gently, but with a kind of real sense of kind of nervous energy and kind of angst to it. It's just 4 verses, no chorus, and it just sort of builds and builds and builds and builds until by the end you've just got this such kind of a lush wall of sound on it. Again, lyrically, this is a song which kind of touches on Murdoch's kind of suffering with chronic fatigue syndrome. So it kind of talks about this kind of maturing and kind of growing and kind of pushing through a difficult situation, and then kind of finding a real sort of sense of release and purpose after you've kind of after you've come through it. So it kind of talks. I think kind of Murdoch had suffered from things like writer's block and sort of various kind of symptoms his chronic fatigue syndrome, and it's just got real sense of release. So it's quite an optimistic song, this one. Yes, it does sound quite moody at the start, but certainly I think by the end it just really releases itself, and it is just a magical song there. So Sleep the Clock Around, an absolute highlight, number 3 on my list. Okay, number 2 now is Lazy Line Painter Jane here. Now this is the original sort of single that came out, which I've only recently got, not shown this yet on my channel, but this is just one of their all-time classics. Belle and Sebastian had quite a unique kind of way of releasing their albums and their music. So kind of I don't think any of their first 4 albums they released any singles from those albums. Instead, their singles were kind of all sort of separate standalone tracks, of which this was kind of one of them. And it's a unique song. This, it was recorded in a church hall, so it's got this very vast kind of cavernous and sort of natural reverberated sounds on it. Lyrics on this are great. They tell they tell quite an alluring story of a kind of muddled up kind of girl who sort of like who will basically kind of like get with anyone she kind of like that she meets, but is kind of trying like to hide her shame from all those prying eyes. The other notable features on here include excellent guest vocal from Monica Queen, who I think was a kind of singer like on like kind of like the Glasgow music scene like off like at the time, and she really makes her mark like on like this song. And just when she comes in, it's just it just really opens up like another kind of texture. Like I'm glad that they used her like on this rather than say Sarah Martin like it was the usual singer like in like the band I got like this time. Musically it's great. It's got this kind of swaggery guitar riff on it, and then by the end it's a bit like Stars of Track and Field. It just builds and builds and builds. You've got this blaring organ work going on, and it just takes the song to new heights. And it's just it's quite a long song, but it doesn't feel long like at all. I think like the lyric narrative is engaging, and it's just like the all-round performance is just absolutely stellar. So Lazy Line Painter Jane at number 2.
If they follow you, it's not your money that they're...
Okay, but now at number 1 for me is probably the first song of theirs which I really fell in love with. It's from them like If You're Feeling Sinister again, and it's like Dylan in the Movies. And again, this is probably from this era among the more accessible kind of Belle and Sebastian songs, because it is quite an upbeat song. You've got this great kind of guitar or like at least I think it's like a bass riff like going along, but then it's kind of combined that with a kind of chamber pop like arrangement on it, and then like lyrics which basically kind of were inspired by kind of Kelvingrove Park like in Glasgow, and the kind of dangers of like walking like alone at night through this, and the kind of like the relief like of like sort of like returning like sort of home safely, like things like on the pillow soft when they've all gone home, you can concentrate on the ones you love, you can concentrate now that they've gone. And then kind of by the end of the track, kind of like on its fade out, you've got this haunting kind of vibraphone which comes out of nowhere, just adds a real kind of like great sense of texture like to it. So it is my number 1, probably for personal reasons, just being one of the first songs like which I got to know of theirs, but again I think it is just like another classic there. So like Dylan in the Movies at number 1. So yes, I hope you have enjoyed that video there, my top 10 Belle and Sebastian songs. I mean, this list could have been as long as my arm kind of thing. Like you could have shot off like in like any direction like on here, like there's lots of great songs which I know that I like missed out. But this was my top 10 just like as of like kind of like like August like 2024. But hope you have enjoyed. I would be interested to know what some of your favourite Belle and Sebastian songs are, and if you've not heard of them, or well, be surprised if you've not heard of them, like if you've got this far through the video. But if you're not as familiar with them, definitely check out these songs, check out some of like their albums, because there really is, I think, something for everyone like in Belle and Sebastian. But hope you have enjoyed the video, and I will see you all next time for the next one. Goodbye.
On your own.